Here's the thing. Birds are real, and it's mean to say that they're not.
Episode 4 of Season 2.
Yeah, if you missed episode 1, 2, or 3, you can listen to this episode and then listen to them. You don't have to listen in order.
Yeah, we've created the show this way to where each episode is solitarily entertaining.
Yeah, an anthology series, if you will.
Nice. There we go. I actually didn't know that's what that meant. I've heard of anthology series.
Yeah, I don't know if it's necessarily the correct usage of that. But
okay.
Like, in a sense, if you, like, stretch the definition a little bit, I think. We've been getting a good response to Season 2 so far. People are liking Season 2.
Not to say Season 1 was bad or anything, but no. I feel like we're improving our game as we go.
We are. The listener count is getting there. It's not quite what it was in Season 1, but it's getting there. Mm-hmm. We asked you to tell every single person you knew to listen to the podcast, and I think some of you might have done that, so thank you.
Yeah, we very much appreciate that. Thanks for all your positive feedback, letting us know that you're having a great time with the new season.
Yeah, I think we'll keep that rolling with this episode, and we'll start with our field notes, where we go over the birds that we've seen, the trips that we've taken. Where have you gone with your time off, Keish?
Yeah, so Sam's actually going on a trip pretty soon. So we're recording this episode just like 4 days after our last episode. But we did get a birding trip in. We went to John Hines. I think it's really funny how throughout the time we've done this podcast, like in Season 1, we mentioned a few times wanting to see an owl. And then like an episode or two later, it's like, hey, we saw a barred owl. And we wanted to see a common loon. And then episode 2 or later, we were like, hey, we saw a common loon.
Yep.
Last episode, we talked about ruby-crowned kinglets a little bit.
We did. We saw a golden-crowned kinglet last episode, and then we talked about how I had never seen one.
A ruby-crowned kinglet.
A ruby-crowned kinglet.
Yes. And then, lo and behold, 2 days after we record that episode, Sam over here gets a lifer and sees his ruby-crowned kinglet.
Yep. We went out, we saw a ruby-crowned kinglet. Much more cooperative than the golden crown kinglet.
Oh yeah, this was a audacious, or is that a word?
Yeah, I think so.
Audacious ruby crown kinglet. It just wasn't super deterred by our presence, just was doing its own thing. Let us take a good, nice amount of pictures.
Yeah, I mean, it got so close to you that your camera wouldn't even focus on it for a little bit there.
Yeah, I was so confused. I was like, Sam, why can't I see anything? And he's like, dude, I think the camera autofocus distance it was too shallow. Yeah. And the bird was just so close to us.
And we were like giving it a respectful distance. It just like came closer to us and was hanging out. So.
Oh yeah, we were like on the main path. We weren't like into the woods or anything like that, but just a nice cooperative bird. Yeah,
really nice. We got some good pics. You got some great pics. Kind of popped off on Instagram there. A little bit of a little celebrity.
Oh, a 30 like post. We're getting there. We're getting there.
I posted pictures of the ruby crown kinglet, got 9 likes. So
yeah, let's show Sam's Instagram account some love. Also ours, also our podcast account.
Yep, at Birds Are Real Pod. You might be confused. You might think you're following me because my Instagram is at BirdsAreReal_Sam. It's different. It's a little different.
It's different.
I'm not like begging for likes or anything, but I will say please give me likes on Instagram.
Yeah. Check me out too. Photos with Geshev. But yeah, we're not begging for likes.
No, we're not begging for likes. Yeah. But if you show us enough support, if I get 30 likes on a picture, we'll release the merch line. So.
Yeah. We're not holding that over your guys' head or anything like that. No. But if we blow up on Instagram, we'll bring out a merch line.
Yep. Yeah. And if we don't get 30 likes, we're gonna stop making these altogether.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, your choice.
It's in your hands.
Yeah.
It's in your hands.
But yeah, we saw the ruby crown kinglet, and that was really cool. We didn't see too much else, if I remember correctly.
No, a lot of what you'd expect. We've talked a lot about ducks these past couple episodes. I feel like maybe show some love to the northern shovelers. I feel like we haven't talked about northern shovelers too much. Those are fun birds. They're pretty common, at least where we are, up and down the East Coast. And yeah, at first glance, you might think that it's a mallard, but just like the bill shape is really different, really interesting. And I'm a fan. A dabbling duck.
Yes, a dabbling duck. And you mentioned you were seeing some cool behavior when they get into like their a flock, I guess, a larger group.
Earlier on in the winter, we were seeing them, and there would be like, 40, 50 of these ducks all kind of swirling around like a vortex kind of. I'm not really sure what that behavior is. I could probably look it up, but I imagine it has something to do with like warmth or something, similar to how penguins huddle together.
Yeah. My quick theory was probably wrong. You know how orcas get like a group together and swim in circles to like encircle like a school of fish or something?
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
wondering if
Could be.
northern shovelers were doing that for some sort of insects or something. I'm not sure.
Yeah, maybe. And I've noticed recently too is that I'm not seeing the giant vortexes, but I am seeing often like pairs of shovelers swirling around each other. Like so a mini vortex, but just two, normally a male and a female. So I'm wondering if now it's like a mating thing.
Maybe. Yeah, it's interesting. If any birders are listening to this and you know the answer, definitely let us know. Send us an email at birdsarereal.pod@gmail.com.
And again, we could look it up ourselves. I'm not going to do it. Tell us the answer.
Maybe we should. But
Maybe we
yeah,
could.
but yeah, tell us the answer.
Yeah.
Make it easy on us.
Yeah, or even your theory.
Yeah.
Tell us why you think it's happening.
Speaking of northern shovelers, we also saw a northern harrier
Yeah.
just swoop down for us one time and then left and never saw it again.
Yeah. This was the first time we had seen the harrier in a while going together. Mm-hmm. I mentioned last episode that I went to John Hines by myself while you were out of town. While I was there, I did see some great blue herons like circling in the sky, which I don't normally see.
Right.
And it was kind of in the back end of John Hines, which is hard to get to sometimes. I was also rushing because it was before work. I had to get home and get to work in time. So I was going pretty fast. But I stopped and looked up, and there's 2-3 great blue herons just kind of going in circles. I looked in the tree, and there's a tree there that had a lot of really big nests, probably 5-6 big nests. I'm thinking it was a heron roost, where herons are roosting, maybe hatching young,
A rookery, if you will.
A rookery, that's the word I'm looking for.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. A heron rookery. Because herons do nest in trees, which is kind of shocking since you never really see them in trees. But they do. And I was wondering why they're circling around. And of course, I'm going really fast. I can't stop to look. But then the harrier swoops right by as I'm walking by them. So it seems like they're maybe defending their nests from the harrier. Trying to scare the harrier away.
I guess I never really thought about harriers or like raptors in general, like stealing eggs.
Yeah.
I feel like they usually go for like live prey. But
Right.
interesting. Yeah. I'd also be intrigued if I saw a few great blue herons circling and never really see that happening.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I don't know enough about great blue herons young. Maybe they'd been hatched already. I don't know if herons stay in the nest when they're young. If they try to hatch them, they don't try to hatch them on the ground because they have nests. I don't know. But
Yeah, that's interesting. We should probably do a great blue heron episode at some point.
we probably should.
Yeah.
There's something special about them.
Yeah, they're very cool. Anything else field news wise?
I'm going to Connecticut this weekend. I'm hopefully going to have some time to go birding in one of my spots there. So I'll report back. Maybe I'll see something interesting.
Spring is right around the corner. We're already seeing some birds come back into the area. Like Sam was mentioning last time, the red-winged blackbirds are back. And yeah, this is going to be my first spring migration because I started birding last summer. So it's going to be my first spring migration. Excited for it.
It'll be really exciting.
Yeah.
Producer Rochelle also saw an early harbinger of spring, saw an eastern bluebird the other day.
Oh, wow. Love an eastern bluebird.
Yep. Really exciting stuff coming up.
So that wraps it up for our field notes. And we'll move on to the hoot topics. We have two great ones today.
We do. First one is coming at us from another anonymous listener here. Here's the question, and it's a thinker. I encourage you all to think about it at home, too.
Yeah.
If all birds had to wear tiny hats, which birds would rock the look the best?
I think this is a question that philosophers from days old have been thinking of. And
I know.
Really just racking their brains over.
I was pouring through the works of Aristotle, Plato, not Socrates. He wouldn't have
Galileo
said anything.
even.
Galileo, yeah. Couldn't find anything conclusive, so I think we're going to have to come up with our own theories here.
Yeah.
My question is, do the birds get to choose the hats that they wear? Does each species get its own specific hat? Or can it be up to the individual bird?
I think these are all things to consider. Maybe we should, I don't know.
I think I'm going to go by the hat and then choose a bird that fits with the hat.
Interesting. Okay, go for it.
So I'm thinking, I'm a big Yankees fan, New York Yankees.
Okay.
I'm thinking, what bird looks best with a Yankees hat on? Yankee with the brim. So I feel like maybe my obvious lean of what bird would rock a Yankees hat rock pigeon. They're all over New York. You know what they're doing. But I think they would only rock it if they also had Tim's on.
I think that exact photo is circulating somewhere. A rock pigeon with Tim's and a baseball
That's
cap.
why I'm thinking of it. That's why I'm thinking of it. Yeah.
I think it's a good look.
Well, okay. Well, let's think of something else then besides that. I feel like a coot could rock a Yankees hat, you know? It would be kind of similar to the coot's head itself, where it's got a dark head and then kind of a one bright white spot on it, which is their beak. Yankees hat kind of has the same thing. Dark background with the bright white logo.
Are you picturing these birds wearing it like the brim front facing or brim back?
Coot, it's got to be backwards, I think.
Yeah, I think all of them have to be backwards.
Yeah.
Everything that I'm thinking of here. I think a bald eagle even could work.
It covers up its bald spot. You don't know that it's bald.
Thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm going to go a different direction. I'll choose a bird that I want most to wear a hat, and then I'll pick a hat for it.
Nice. I like it.
So I think, what bird like needs a little bit of extra something on its head? You know, like we talked about the bald eagle, it needs a hat to cover up its bald spot.
Yeah.
What's a bird that just needs a little more pizzazz on its head?
It's a great question. Maybe like Clark's Nutcracker, which is kind of technically a jay, related to like a blue jay, a Steller's jay. But it's just got a round head. It doesn't have one of the cool little spikes, you know?
Yeah.
It could use some. It's just gray.
Yeah, I'm thinking going back to episode 1 of this season, the wood duck.
The wood duck.
The wood duck, it's got kind of like a slicked back hairstyle.
Oh, slicked back? That's pushed back.
Oh, okay, my bad. Push back.
Yeah.
You know, it's got a lot going on there. So I feel like just to keep it all under wraps, keep it all under control, we could just throw a little beanie on it.
Yeah.
Nice little beanie.
A nice little beanie. I like that.
Yeah. It might have a little bit of hair poking out, but I feel like that's a style.
That's what you want.
Not too rounding. You want some shape there. So, yeah, that's my pick. The wood duck and a beanie.
Wood duck and a beanie. I like it. Well, I am a bit of a Photoshop master, all right?
Ooh.
So if everyone's very nice to me, I might be able to whip together some of these things without the use of AI, I might add. I do not use generative AI.
We're anti-generative AI on this podcast.
We are.
If you don't like it, please stay.
Yeah, keep listening, but just know that I'm disappointed in you.
All right. And our next hoot topic comes from Nick. This might be his second or third hoot topic he submitted. He's always got some thought-provoking questions.
Yeah.
And this is another one. He says, my cats and I are all very interested in birds, and I was considering getting some kind of bird feeder that I could stick on one of my windows so that we could get a closer look. Would this have any negative effects on the local birds? I'm wondering if they might be traumatized by the cats, or if giving them handouts food-wise would prevent them from pulling themselves up by their bootstraps and finding their own food.
Interesting. We got to mix kind of the whole philosophy behind capitalism with bird feeders, which, you know.
Yeah.
So I do have some thoughts. First of all, no, set out bird feeders. Like, birds kind of need some help these days. We've taken a lot of land, a lot of food, a lot of resources from them. So it's very fine ethically in a capitalistic sense to be giving them handouts.
I think that's right. Everyone needs a little help now and then.
Yeah.
You know, you're not weaker for needing a little help.
Yeah, and especially like we are actively taking those resources away, so we could put some back to them, right?
Yeah, Sam's the cat owner over here, so I'll let him speak to if the cats in general can pose any harm to birds if you put up a bird feeder.
Yeah, so I did when I lived in Colorado. I did have a window sticking bird feeder. I opened my window to put it on, and there's like the screen behind the window, and so I tried to take that out. I broke the screen, and I could never get the screen back in, so put the bird feeder on the window, closed the window, and never opened the window again because I didn't want my cat to get out. We could never fix the window. We did not get that security deposit back. But that's a totally fine thing to do as long as you do have indoor cats. If your cats are outdoor cats, I wouldn't recommend having any sort of bird feeder in your yard. You don't want to lure birds to a place where your cat is going to be actively hunting them.
Right.
So if you have indoor cats, bird feeder outside is great. Bird feeder stuck to your window I think is also fine, but I would do a couple of things to the window just to make sure the birds don't accidentally crash into them, because that's kind of a concern with birds. So there are like decals, stickers, static cling stickers, you know, that don't actually leave any residue, don't leave a mark, but you can stick them onto your window. Flowers, birds, butterflies, things like that, those kind of stickers. I'd recommend putting those on the windows around where you put the bird feeder, just so the bird can kind of see that there is something there and they don't accidentally hit the window. That would be kind of the biggest concern.
Yeah, because the issue is birds don't know what windows are. They like can't
Exactly.
tell that, you know, there is something there, so they just fly through, hit the window, unfortunately.
Yeah. In terms of does the cat pose a danger to them? Again, if it's an indoor cat that doesn't go outside, the cat can stay on the other side of the window, hiss, meow, scratch at the window, whatever. As if the bird feels comfortable, it's going to stay and it'll eat, and there's no danger posed to the bird at all.
Yeah.
It might agitate your cat, though. I will say that. But sometimes it's kind of fun. I like watching my cats look at birds.
Yeah, my only 2 cents here would be, if you're putting up a bird feeder, might also be helpful to put up like a bird bath or, you know, just some sort of water source, especially if you live in an area where there's not a lot of water. That will also attract more birds to you if that's what you want, because, you know, birds need water, and having a running water source will definitely help that. Put a bubbler in the bird bath or whatever container, I guess, you have, because that will be more obvious to the birds that there is water there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've been contemplating putting a bird bath outside my apartment right now. The only things I'm worried about are bird flu. Is that still an issue? I think probably, but I
think it is, and it's going to be,
Yeah,
unfortunately. Going back to capitalism,
Yeah.
the U.S. doesn't care about
Yeah, I think that,
food regulation, so
Yep.
there's that.
that's going to be an issue. But also the apartment kind of across the little alleyway from me up on the second floor, their balcony is just legitimately filled with trash bags of trash, like months old, maybe years old trash bags. It's just completely filled with trash. So I'm a little worried about putting out a bird bath and a bird feeder that it might attract rats.
Yeah, there is a local bird sanctuary where we live in Philly, like nestled right within the city. It's actually really cool. It's
Yeah.
just like in some people's like shared backyards.
I know it's kind of awkward getting back there because you feel like you're like breaking into somebody's yard, but it's public.
Yeah, like I brought my camera there the first time I went there. You know, you can't. It's hard to get good photos there because it's so dark because there's so much tree cover. But I just felt like not great.
Yeah.
With having a camera there, like in people's backyards. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, there used to be bird feeders there, and there's some recent signage that they had to take the bird feeders away because it was attracting rats. So
Yeah.
that is something to consider.
It is something to consider. There was also, they were actively composting there, so I'm thinking that probably brought the rats more so than the bird feeder, but
Right.
you know, living in a city, sometimes better to be safe than sorry with the rats. But I'm considering it.
So yeah, good question, Nick. I don't think we've explicitly talked about bird feeders too much on the podcast. So.
No. And I'll also say, you know, we are no authorities on ethics. We do our best. We try to keep up with the latest do's and don'ts of birding. But if you come across something from a more reputable source than us, if you do see anything else, let us know. We could be wrong about some of the specifics of all of this, so would love to keep learning.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So I've been watching The Curse on Showtime. You know about The Curse?
No,
Okay.
like never heard of it in my life. Never even heard someone talk about it until now.
Well, that's great news because I'll explain it to you.
Okay, great.
Now, it came out, I want to say like a year ago. People were kind of talking about it a year ago. No one's really talking about it these days. But I just got Showtime, so I'm watching it now. If you have not heard about The Curse, it's kind of impossible to explain. Because if I just tell you the plot, it'll sound like nothing's happening. It's very much the plot is happening, but it's the way that the plot happens that makes the show what it is. I'm not going to go too much deeper into that because I don't want to ruin it in case anyone listening wants to listen.
But it's worth a listen or worth a watch, you would say?
It's I would so far I'm only partway through the season, but basically it follows this couple played by Nathan Fielder and Emma Stone, and it very much has a Nathan Fielder show kind of vibe to it. If you've ever seen like Nathan for You or The Rehearsal.
I don't know Nathan Fielder. I do know Emma Stone, though.
Okay, yeah. But they're like a couple that's trying to make this HGTV style real estate show. Like, you know, they're like flipping houses and selling houses, stuff like that.
Wait, so the show is about this couple trying to make a show?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a fictional show about a fictional couple trying to make a fictional show. But it made me think it might be time to get into the real estate game.
Oh, yeah?
You know what I mean? The podcast is fun and all. I like it. But house shows are where the real money's at. And the podcast has made no money so far. We don't have any sponsors or anything. So I'm going to take my time right now and use this main section today to pitch my idea for a show to all of the network executives that definitely listen to this podcast.
Yeah, I'm excited. I don't know where you're going with this.
Well, obviously, I'm never going to be able to afford a house, right?
I mean, that's clear. For
It's seeming that way, right?
So, yeah.
Houses are getting more and more expensive, rent skyrocketing in price. We haven't found any sponsors, like I mentioned, so we're kind of in dire straits right now, right? Yeah. I think a lot of our listeners can relate to this. Some of them maybe have houses good for you. A lot of you, I don't think you do. And you're kind of wondering, how are you ever going to afford them? Luckily for you, I've found a cheap and sustainable alternative. Birds' nests.
Ooh.
Yeah? Seems like a good idea, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Putting people up in birds' nests.
I mean, the birds do it fine, so why can't we?
Exactly. So I know you, for instance, might be looking for a new place to live.
Maybe.
So for the pilot episode of this show, I'm going to be showing you around some of the beautiful nests that I've found. Mm-hmm. And I'll show you all the features, all the amenities, and hopefully we'll put you up in a new place by the end of it.
Yeah, I mean, do you get a commission out of this or something, or?
Oh, you'll see my commission.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
But like I said, my goal here is to provide you with cheap, affordable housing, right?
Perfect.
So all good shows start with an intro, a little intro segment. So here's my intro. Ready? Has your living situation got you down, feeling like affordable housing is for the birds? Well, I say affordable nesting is for the humans. Join me, real estate mogul Sam Gardner, as I search high and low, in trees, on skyscrapers, and even underground for the perfect nest for you. This is This Old Nest. Like This Old House, you know what I mean?
Yeah, during that whole time, all I could think of was Saul Goodman pitching his, sketchy commercial to the old people in the nursing home.
That's the vibe I'm going for. Yeah, that worked out for him, so I'm hoping this works for me.
Did it work out for him?
For a while.
For a bit?
Yeah, for a little bit.
Oh, do you remember what that nursing home was called?
Sandpiper Crossing.
Sandpiper Crossing.
It all comes together. Peep Crossing. So today, we'll be helping famous podcaster Keshav Patel find his dream nest. Keish, have you ever lived in a bird's nest before?
Unfortunately, I haven't.
No.
It's a new experience for me.
Okay. So I'm thinking you're going to want to see a wide variety of nests in that case.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
I mean, if you're getting a commission, I'm going to put you to work.
Hey, I'll go to work. But really quick, do you know what the 4 main nest types are, at least as categorized by wingspan?
Yeah, so we have your cavity nest, which is like a hole in a tree. Mm-hmm. Or it may also encompass holes anywhere. I'll let you
We'll see.
Clue me in on that. The cluster nest, which just sounds like... I actually don't know what that means. I know it's called a cluster nest in Wingspan.
I think it's actually called a ground nest in Wingspan.
Ground nest. Mm-hmm. Okay, great. I just call it a cluster nest for some reason.
We all have different names for the nests in Wingspan.
Yeah. We have the stick nest in Wingspan. I don't know what that's
actually called the platform nest.
Platform nest, okay. And then we have the star nest now.
Well, there's the cup nest.
Oh, the cup nest, okay.
Which I guess is actually technically called the bowl nest. I looked at the instruction booklet again.
Oh, bowl
They call it the bowl nest. Now, these are just like Wingspan-specific categories. Mm-hmm. I looked into it a little bit. There isn't really a classification of birds' nests like this, in as far as I could tell.
Oh, really?
On allaboutbirds.org.
They just call them nests?
They'll say something like, it's like a cup style nest, but it's not like necessarily a cup nest. But it gives us a nice little kind of backdrop for the type of nest we're looking at, right?
Yeah.
Cup or bowl nests, you're thinking of your classic robin's nest, the ones you'll probably see all over in trees. Just a bundle of sticks that are really tightly packed to make a nice little bowl shape. Mm-hmm. Platform nests, if you live anywhere near like a water source, you may have seen artificial osprey posts set up. And a lot of times you can see there's a lot of big sticks kind of together to make a nest. A lot of raptor nests are like that. Mm-hmm. Ground nests are kind of interesting because they can be a whole host of things. You can get a burrowing owl, which just takes the whole of a prairie dog or something and kind of expands upon that. Or it can be the mallee fowl, which has like a 2,000-pound nest on the ground, just kind of in the middle of nowhere.
Just made of like sticks and
mostly dirt. Yeah,
dirt.
Dug out dirt.
Wow.
Kind of like a moat around it.
Interesting. Yeah, I didn't really, before starting birding, I didn't know or think about birds having nests underground. Mm-hmm. Like you mentioned, the burrowing owl, marsh wrens also do this. kingfishers, interestingly enough, do that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try to show you a little bit of everything today. Give you a good sense of what the options are for you.
Cool.
I know you're new to the real estate world, though, so we'll start out with more of a simple one. All right? So we're going to go on the road to see this live in action. So first stop, here we are on a charming New England beach. The seaweed-filled water is a balmy 45 degrees. The lovely aroma of low tide is wafting through the air. The calming sensations of sharp rocks and seashells is between your toes because there's no sand on these beaches.
I'm well aware.
If you look to your left, you'll see our first option. No, sorry. If you look to your right, or no, I guess it's behind us. Well, I can't find it. I can't seem to find it anywhere. But don't worry, because I've seen how they're made. We can just make it really quick right now.
Just not a great impression of your first real estate abilities.
No. Check this out. This is a brand new custom house just for you, right? I'm just going to scrape at these pebbles a little bit with my foot. And maybe like throw a twig or two in there. And voila. Your very own dream nest right here. You know where I learned this technique? The killdeer.
Oh, wow.
Yep, this
My
is how
mascot.
a killdeer makes a nest.
Nice.
Exactly. They'll literally just kind of like walk around a pebbly area, scratch in about like a 3-inch diameter. They'll just kind of scratch, similar to the way a cat might scratch in a litter box. This is called scraping, which is a thing that birds do when they make nests. But a lot of times they take it further than this. The killdeer doesn't. They scratch a little bit. They say this is a good place, and they lay their eggs just on the ground. After they lay their eggs, which again, just kind of right out in the open, the killdeer will sometimes add like a few sticks, maybe some seashells, just to like mark to itself where it is. But if you're walking around, you can't notice it. You don't really. It's the ground.
Interesting. Because I feel like a lot of birds put a lot of effort into either making their nests very inconspicuous or just like protecting them.
Yeah.
Seems like the killdeer is doing neither.
Yeah. I mean, on one hand, it's not hidden at all, but on the other hand, what's more inconspicuous than just the normal ground, right?
Very interesting.
So, as you might expect with a nest like this, security is a bit of a concern.
Right.
What with there's, no walls, no floor, no ceiling, kind of nothing other than the ground. So, put yourself in the shoes of a killdeer. You've laid your eggs on the ground. You've thrown a little bit of trash around nearby, but you see a predator approaching. What are you going to do?
Me, personally, if I was a killdeer.
Well, you're thinking about living here. Like, what would you do?
I might walk out of my front door, run down a block or two, scream at the top of my lungs, make a lot of noise, attract the predator there, and then sneakily go back to my nest, my apartment.
That's a great instinct. I can see why the killdeer is your mascot.
Is that what the killdeer does?
Yeah, first, you got the first step right. Walk away from your nest. You don't want the predator coming near your nest. You've got eggs there, right? Luckily, your eggs are shaped and colored basically the same as the small rocks. So unless you're really looking for them, you're not going to even notice
Blending
they're there.
in pretty
They're
well.
blending in great. Then, like you said, you're going to start screaming. You want them to come towards you. Be very noticeable. Sometimes screaming's not enough, If you're a predator, you have a choice between a very active adult bird or like some eggs that aren't going to defend itself. You're probably going to go towards the eggs.
Right.
But an adult bird's a bigger meal. So you might pretend to have a broken arm. Lay on the ground. Seem like you can't fly anywhere. Predator starts coming towards you, expecting an easy meal. Right before it can snap you up, jump up, fly away from your nest, away from where the predator is. Laugh at the dumb little predator as it sits there dumbfounded and hungry.
Wow. What a good technique.
I know.
I was almost there.
They're famous for their broken wing technique. Or fake broken wing technique.
I have heard of the broken wing technique. I think other birds do that too.
They do. There are some other birds.
Yeah.
Killdeer is like the most well known, but it is a technique a lot of birds use. Similar to playing possum, I think.
Cool. So you're telling me if I sign this lease, I need to get good at that.
Yeah, I would recommend getting good at screaming and pretending like you have a broken arm.
Okay, good to know.
So just, something to keep in mind. A side note here, killdeer don't only nest on rocky beaches. They'll actually also nest on gravel roads, even gravel rooftops, if you have one of those.
Gravel rooftop.
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
Apparently. I don't really know anything about real estate, obviously, or houses. So I don't know why someone would have a gravel rooftop. Maybe it's like energy efficient or I don't know.
Yeah, if you've ever played Minecraft, seems like a bad idea.
Yeah.
Gonna fall on you.
If it is just for aesthetics, though, maybe consider changing it up if you have killdeer in your area, because when a baby killdeer hatches, it can walk right away, but it can't fly yet. So
Okay.
there is a story, though, of a baby killdeer that survived a 7-story fall after hatching on a gravel rooftop. Resilient little guys.
Interesting.
So this is by far our cheapest and most time-efficient model if you're looking to move in right away. What do you think? Is this the one?
I think, I don't know, maybe this is just me getting too soft in all the luxuries of the world, but I feel like I need a little more, maybe some walls, maybe a couple more amenities.
Okay.
I see that it's cheap, but I don't know. I
Yeah.
feel like I need a little bit more.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I understand that. You don't really want to risk people, like, walking on it, destroying it, not even know it's there.
Yeah.
Right? Need something a little safer, a little more away from people, maybe.
And, I don't want to put myself at risk every time.
No, exactly.
With the broken wing technique.
Right. You don't need to do the broken wing technique.
Yeah.
So we're maybe looking higher off the ground, right?
Yeah,
Which is great because a lot of birds do nest off of the ground.
A high rise, if you will.
Yeah. We're looking really high off the ground. Like really, really high off the ground, right? So we're in New England. Let's just hop on the Amtrak and head to our next destination, New York City.
Ooh.
So you're a bit of a thrill seeker, right? Like you've gone skydiving.
Yeah, I mean, that's light work, but I have gone skydiving.
Yeah. You're an adrenaline junkie of sorts.
Yeah.
Okay.
You could say that.
That's great because that's kind of a quality you'll need at our next nest. This model is very exciting because I used to only see them on cliff sides away from any good public transportation, restaurants, stuff like that. But you're in luck now because as you can see, you can get this nest right in the middle of Manhattan as high up as the 100th floor, the high rise that you were looking for.
Wow.
As long as you are comfortable being on a pile of sticks on a window ledge of a skyscraper.
Oh, okay. Not even on top, just on a ledge.
On a ledge,
Okay.
Yep.
A little precarious, but I'm willing to hear you out on this.
Okay, great. This was actually a lived-in home. The previous tenants have moved on. Do you know who they might have been?
Probably a peregrine falcon. That's the only bird I know that actively nests on skyscrapers.
Exactly. It is the peregrine falcon, and you'll see a lot of the neighbors around are peregrine falcons. You'll also see some red-tailed hawks, bald eagles around the neighborhood, you know. What are you going to do about gentrification, though?
Yeah, it is what it is.
But speaking of bald eagles, the history of the peregrine falcon is eerily similar to that of the bald eagle, which might be fairly well known at this point, but it does bear repeating the history. In the 1960s, everything was spraying DDT all over everything, the pesticide, just all over crops. Everywhere was getting everything. Small rodents, small birds would eat the crops, which had the DDT. Falcons, eagles would eat the small birds, which has the DDT. And it kind of led to the complete disappearance of the peregrine falcon from the East Coast altogether. Like they were gone. But around the 80s, 90s, due to some captive breeding programs and restrictions placed on DDT, they were very successfully reintroduced into places like New York City. And New York City is now the largest urban population of peregrine falcons anywhere in the world.
Very cool.
Yeah. Very successful reintroduction. And normally we think of man-made things as exclusively destructive to animals in nature, which is fair because, that is mostly true. But a big reason the peregrine falcon was able to kind of come back in New York is actually in thanks to all of the skyscrapers. It wouldn't really have happened without there being these skyscrapers. And that's because, as we mentioned before, as you probably already know, peregrine falcons are the fastest animal in the world, right? But that's only when they're able to dive down from way up high, right? They're not like a Lambo. They're not going 0 to 60 in half a second, just like straight on flat ground. They're getting way up and then they're diving right down. Like normally they're only doing that from cliff sides down to the water, up on like sheer mountain tops where they can kind of see from their nest and then dive right down. But in New York, they can be up on the buildings. They have really great eyesight and they can just, if they're high enough up, they can go dive bomb their prey. Very fast, very effective. And especially in New York, there is an extremely available and approachable prey all around.
The rats.
The rats, but also the pigeons. Those city
pigeons. I see. That makes more sense.
Yep.
Because I feel like peregrine falcons do kind of go for other birds because they do have to dive bomb, so they're in the air.
Yeah, they're in the air. They're really good at going for other birds. They really like pigeons. And pigeons, as we kind of discussed last episode, they're very trusting birds, you know?
Yeah, you feel for the pigeon.
Yeah,
You really do.
they'll kind of let whatever happens happen to them. And being in New York City, there's kind of a never-ending supply. So falcons, they're living large. They're kind of having an easier time of getting food in the city than a lot of their counterparts are having kind of out in the more rural areas. Mm-hmm. That's all thanks to being able to set up some sticks on a ledge. So surely this is your dream nest, right?
I mean, it's better than the killdeer nest. Elite location.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's a previous owner there, but you know, I like a peregrine falcon.
Okay.
I'm worried about, you know, it's a little precarious. It's on a ledge.
It is a little precarious. It's a little bland too. You know, it's a little corporate, right?
That's true too. I would like to be on a cool skyscraper, not a boring one.
Not a whole lot of creativity behind just the sticks on a ledge, right?
Also, like just the community feel. I don't have neighbors. I'm like way up there.
That's right.
You know,
that's true. So first, let's address the aesthetic needs. We've looked at some pretty bare bones nests, right? We're thinking about location, we're thinking about cost right now, but why don't we look at some artisan nests?
Okay.
Right? We could go to some of the lower cost artisan nests, you know, your oriole nests, your weaver nests, but I can see by the look in your eye that you're looking for the cream of the crop.
I mean, yeah, as you know, I have the funds, and I'm looking to splurge on a home.
All right. Well, these models actually do need to be custom made. So let's hop on our plane and head to our next location, Australia.
Whoa.
Where we're going to meet the craftsmen, the bowerbirds.
The bowerbird.
The bowerbirds. I'm breaking character here right now, but I think bowerbird nests were featured on like Planet Earth 2, something similar to that. I know I saw it on TV recently.
Okay.
So maybe you've already heard about them if you're listening to this episode, but they're just like way too cool to not mention in an episode about bird nests, so I'm going to do it too.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard of a bowerbird before, like the Regent bowerbird, but I know absolutely nothing about their nests.
Yeah. I would recommend looking up a picture. Well, I'd recommend looking up a picture of every nest that we talk about just because I always recommend looking up things about birds. But if you're selective about the things you look up and you're going to look up one picture from this episode, let it be the bowerbird nest.
Let me do that real quick. Okay, this is jogging some memories down. Yeah, this is a lot.
It's I don't know if people did this at your elementary school, but like at mine during recess, some kids would kind of go closer to the woods and make like fairy houses. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't think we called them fairy houses. I know what you're talking about.
All right, like just like little tiny houses made out of like sticks, and they would maybe decorate them with paper or like little dolls or like erasers or something. You know what I mean? Well, bowerbird nests kind of look exactly like these, except for they are made by birds instead of human beings. So like I said, we're going to need them to custom make the nest, and custom making nests, nest building, is like a really big part of mating displays for bowerbirds. Most birds, when you think of mating displays, you're thinking of like song, you're thinking of plumage, maybe some dancing going on. But for bowerbirds, they build houses. Male bowerbirds, they go to work, they build houses, they try to make them as geometrically sound as possible, like really symmetrical but really flashy. You see a lot of like circle, like donut looking ones. It's pretty impressive stuff.
Seeing these photos of these nests jogged a repressed memory for me. Did you ever watch that like viral video of the bowerbird? Because you were mentioning mating displays, so this jogged my memory. They find blue things, like the males find blue things to give to the female. And there's just this funny viral video. It's like, you like blue? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't think I've seen that.
I'll show you later. Maybe we'll post it somewhere. But yeah, if you Google a photo of a bowerbird nest, you'll probably see like blue bottle caps and stuff around, because it sounds like they collect those.
Yeah, they like to decorate the ground around the nest with like flowers, berries, sometimes even like shiny trash or like colorful trash, like a bottle cap, coins, anything they can find really. So if you do go with the bowerbird nest, it'll come with a neatly manicured lawn, some ornamental foliage, you know, all ready for you. Now, on this old nest, we do everything above board, right? We want to ensure the best experience for our clients. So for these expensive artisan units, we do like to bring in inspectors.
Ooh.
Yeah. In this case, our inspectors are female bowerbirds, who after the males make the houses, they'll go and they'll pore over every inch of the nest. They'll inspect it to make sure it's structurally sound, it's properly decorated, it's a good nest, right? The only problem we've run into with these homes is that if they pass the inspection, the original builders won't sell them. they keep them for themselves.
I see.
Because passing the inspection is a hard thing to do for a bowerbird house,
Yeah.
right? Unfortunately, you either get a house that doesn't pass inspection or you don't get a house. So we might need to move on again.
But it really depends on how picky these female bowerbirds are, because
They're picky.
they're
They're really picky. Some male bowerbirds have to make like 5-10 houses.
Wow,
Yeah.
making them work for it.
They're really working for it. But because of that, like, they're kind of bachelor pads anyway, right?
Yeah.
I feel like we're past the need for bachelor pads at this point in time.
Yeah.
So why don't we continue on? I feel like we're close. I feel like we're so close to finding you the perfect nest. We're like, you got to stay with me here. You know, I'm a good real estate agent.
I mean, I'm getting a little discouraged, a little dejected, but I'll stay with you.
Okay, well, maybe we need to try a type of nest that we haven't tried yet. Maybe a cavity nest.
Okay.
Okay. We could go simple. We could find any number of like tree cavities that woodpeckers have pecked. But I think you want something a little more than that. Maybe a little more exciting. Am I right?
I think, yeah, you're right.
Okay.
Sure.
I have one question then. How do you feel about neighbors?
I think a good neighbor is good. I think a bad neighbor is worse than how good a good neighbor is, if that makes sense.
Okay, that does make sense.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to pivot right now. And we're going to go to the sandy beaches, the actually sandy beaches, unlike in New England, but the sandy beaches of southern Spain.
Wow.
You'll experience warmth, culture, and a neighborhood like no other. Most of the time when we think about cavities, we think about trees, like you were saying earlier, right? But I think you have what it takes to challenge that assumption. If you look closely at that sandy cliffside over there, you might see 10, 20, 50, 100 or so holes populated by the best neighbors, the European bee eaters.
Ah, yes.
Yeah. So from what I could tell, outside of wingspan, like I said earlier, nests aren't really categorized so specifically. So I think you could make a few different cases for what a bee eater nest is technically classified as, but in wingspan it's a star nest, which basically means like they don't know what it is. It could be classified as anything.
Yeah.
So I'm going to make my case for why I think it's a cavity nest.
Okay.
First off, the nest is made of holes. And what are cavities if not holes? Am I right?
You're so right.
They're also created in a very similar way to how woodpeckers create tree cavities, which is that the bee eaters will start the holes by digging out the hard surface of sand on the side of a sandy cliff with their beaks, right? Same thing woodpeckers do. I don't think they do it with quite the same efficiency, but they still do it. Mm-hmm. Since they're drilling into like sand instead of trees, at a certain point, they are able to use their feet to start kicking out the loosened soft sand, but they use their beaks to start with it. I think the spirit's essentially the same.
Right, right.
Now, I will say these units are somewhat susceptible to break-ins, mostly by other birds, sometimes bats, occasionally snakes. But come on, you can't beat that view, the nice sandy beaches. There are sometimes snakes in your house, though. Like I said before, though, you will have lots of neighbors to look out for you. Like a lot of neighbors. Like literally thousands of neighbors. And
like the European bee eaters?
yeah. Mm-hmm. And there's maybe adjoining rooms. But like I said, look at the view.
I see you're trying to sell me on this. I think there are a few things in this world that irritate me more than getting sand in places and not being able to get them out. That's why I don't like the beach. I like the beach in theory, but getting sand everywhere, hate it. Especially as a guy with a beard. Getting sand out of your beard is really
That's
tough.
a really hard thing to do.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I've shown you my top, the best of the best, my premium properties. So what do you think? Are you ready to move into your dream nest?
I think I'm going to go with the bowerbird nest.
The bowerbird nest.
Hey, I get it. It didn't pass inspection, but these inspectors, these female bowerbirds are very picky.
They are very picky. There's a lot of perfectly great houses that maybe they don't pass the inspection, but good enough to sell.
Yeah, I think because like the killdeer nest seems just a little too bare bones for me. The skyscraper nest feels a little cold.
Maybe a little impractical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the sand nest, you already know the sand nests. So.
Yeah. Well, I think that's an excellent choice. Luckily, the paperwork, it's already been drawn up. You've actually already signed it. That release form I asked you to sign to like be on the TV show, it included a clause that said that when you agree to purchase a house, you've actually already signed. You purchase it. It's done for your convenience.
Oh, you really are like Saul Goodman then.
Yeah. It's all done for your convenience. You don't need to sign anything else. But like I said, these are affordable houses, right? Nests are cheap, they're easy to make, they're sourced from all natural, local materials. So you're only going to pay for the cost of labor, which with the bowerbird, it's a little high, but like I said, totally affordable. You're looking at like maybe a couple of coins in a bottle cap.
Yep, sounds good.
Okay, great. Also, I mean, it's probably not even worth mentioning this, but my showing fee, which again you're legally obligated to pay, is $1.2 million. All right, that's all the time we have.
Wait.
Yep. Please
Hold
join us
on.
next time as we help another lucky client find their dream home on this old nest.
Well, that was a lot of fun. I feel like I've watched your curse show already. I probably don't even need to watch it anymore.
No, that's pretty much the idea behind it. Yeah.
Interesting.
So, I mean, what do you think? You think that show is going to get picked up?
Yeah, no, I think that was very entertaining. I think people are looking to move out of their expensive apartments into nests, bird nests.
I agree.
I think there's a growing community for
The
that.
bird community, there could be a lot of episodes because there are a lot of bird nests.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Well, thanks for going on this journey with me. That's
Yeah,
what
of
I
course.
had.
I'm glad I have a new living arrangement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's in Australia.
No, I'll get used to it.
Okay.
Wear my sunscreen more often.
Yeah, great.
Great, yeah. Great main topic. That was a lot of fun. It was a little stressful because, buying an apartment is stressful. You really put me in that place.
Yeah.
Like I needed a new place to live. So that was cool.
I think I'm a good salesperson, Very pushy. Don't actually listen to what you want in a house. I just tell you what you want.
Yeah, and then, you had that clause in there that, you just got paid. So you're good.
Works great for me.
There you go. Yeah, now that all the listeners know so much about bird nests, send us a message on what bird nest you would like to live in.
There's a whole lot of really cool ones that just wasn't time to get to today, but yeah, let us know your favorite one where you'd like to live.
Yeah, so time to move on to our closing caw.
Yep.
If you listened to the last episode, we promised that we would study up.
We lied.
Yeah, we lied. Next time for sure.
Next time for sure. There just wasn't that much time in between these episodes.
Right, just a couple or a few days, I should say. But next time for sure.
Next time for sure. But we're still going to do it today.
Yeah, we're going to do it. I think Sam gave me a call first last time, so I'll give him a call first this time.
Great. Interesting.
Where's your head at?
I feel like I'm in a sparrow realm right now to start.
Okay.
I don't think it's a sparrow. I don't think it's quite a sparrow, but I'm thinking a smaller songbird kind of. This is not a killdeer, I don't think. So I'm staying away. I always go to like shorebirds as the first thought in my mind, and I don't think it's a shorebird.
We did not mention it in today's episode. We did see it at John Hines very briefly.
Wow. Okay. Is this a rusty blackbird?
This is a rusty blackbird.
Ooh, nice. All right. Excellent. Well, that evens up the score right now, 2-2, but you still have a rebuttal, so...
Yeah, the blackbirds tend to have like that squeaky gear, like kind of like machine-like sound.
Exactly,
almost.
Yeah. If you think of a red-winged blackbird, then you can get to rusty blackbird from there.
And also similar. I thought you were gonna get the rusty blackbird and the common grackle call a little mixed up there. So good job.
Thank you. All right, and here's for you.
Ooh, that's a very interesting call, especially that end part. It's very musical.
Yeah.
Do it one more time. All right, nothing very obvious is popping into mind. I'm trying to think here. Sounds like a small bird.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. It doesn't seem obvious like the robin from last time. It's something that I don't think I've heard before. Yeah, this one's tricky. I don't know. I'm thinking of a small bird that I don't see super often and may not know the call of.
This one is very tricky, I'll say that.
Tricky. Okay. White-breasted nuthatch, maybe.
That's close. That's really close. But here's the thing: a white-breasted nuthatch goes down a tree. Okay. I was looking for a bird that goes up a tree. I was looking for the brown creeper.
Oh, those. Oh, yeah. That's funny that you say that. Nuthatches do go down. Creepers do go up.
Yep.
Yeah, we've seen the brown creeper before.
Don't know if we've ever actually heard it.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever actually heard it, interestingly
Call
enough.
didn't sound familiar to me, but...
Yeah, but now I know what it sounds like.
Hey.
And we will study for next episode. And it's all tied up now.
It is all tied up, 2-2.
2-2. There we go.
All right. Well, thanks for listening to this episode, everyone. I hope you had a wonderful time. I hope you're thinking about a new house.
Spring migration is coming up pretty soon. We'll hopefully have some cool field notes for you guys next episode, so stay tuned.
Yeah.
If you want to send us a message on our email, once again, birdsarereal.pod@gmail.com, and our Instagram is birdsarerealpod.
All right. Have a good one, and make sure you tell your executive producer uncle to pick up This Old Nest as the next HGTV show.